Choices carry consequences. Here is yours. The coffee smelled off. Not just strong. Wrong. Like somebody mixed in something that did not belong. I was in my kitchen at 6:30 on a Tuesday morning, watching my wife, Kelly, fuss over 2 steaming mugs with a smile she usually saved for her advertising clients. "Made you a special coffee, honey," she sang, easing the darker cup toward me. 22 years of marriage, and all of a sudden, she is playing barista. The same woman who would not microwave her own leftovers was acting like a homestyle hostess. My name is Mike Carter, and I am an engineer. Engineers notice patterns. Pattern 1. For 3 months, Kelly had been cold as January. Pattern 2. She started working late, every Tuesday and every Thursday. Pattern 3. Her sister Lauren was due for brunch this morning, and Kelly was laying it on thick with me. Lauren rolled in about 20 minutes later, fake designer purse, heavy perfume, and that smug little smirk she has worn since the day I married her sister. She loves to jab at me for my blue-collar life and our modest house, like either one is an insult. "Mike," she muttered without really looking up. "Still fixing toilets for a living?" For the 1000th time, I said, steady and polite, "I am a mechanical engineer. I design water treatment systems." She waved me off, grabbed the mug I had been holding, and said, "Whatever. I need caffeine." Lauren took a long pull from what was supposed to be my special coffee. Across the island, Kelly's face went pale. "That is delicious," Kelly offered too quickly. "Finally, decent coffee in this house," Lauren said, and finished half the cup in one go. About 30 minutes later, Lauren bolted for the powder room like the floor was on fire. What came next sounded like a biology experiment gone wrong. Violent, explosive, and absolutely humiliating. "Oh God," she cried behind the door. "Something is wrong. Really wrong." Kelly paced the kitchen like a caged animal, cutting me nervous glances. I leaned on the counter, took an easy sip from my regular coffee, the one Lauren abandoned, and watched my wife come apart. "Maybe she ate something bad," I said, calm as a pond. The door flew open. Lauren stumbled out with mascara streaks, a stained dress, and the look of someone who had been through a blender. She barely made it to her car before the next wave hit. Within an hour, she had texted the entire family group chat with a graphic play-by-play of her food poisoning. My phone buzzed nonstop with relatives asking what we had served for brunch. That evening, I closed the bedroom door behind me. "Interesting morning," I said. Kelly was folding laundry with machine-like precision, eyes down. "Poor Lauren," she said. "Must have been something she ate before she came." "Funny thing about that special coffee you made," I said. Her hands paused. "What about it? You looked upset when she drank it." "I was concerned," she said. "For her." "Kelly," I said, sitting on the edge of the bed so she had to meet my eyes. "What did you put in my coffee?" Her face flashed through guilt, fear, and then landed on defiance. "You are being paranoid, Mike. Maybe talk to someone about these conspiracy theories." Gaslighting. Classic. But I have been married to this woman long enough to know when she is lying. "Right," I said. "I am the crazy one." Later, while she showered, I checked her phone. She had gotten sloppy about hiding it, probably because she thought I was too trusting to check or too dumb to notice. A message thread with a man named Brandon turned my blood to ice. The tone was all I needed. Plans for a secret getaway, little jokes about how clueless I was, and a line that hit me square in the chest. Once I was out of the picture, they could have everything. Kelly wrote that our kids would understand eventually, that this was for the best. I took screenshots, hands shaking but steady enough to capture it all. I am an engineer. I like plans. I just do not like plans that leave me out. The next morning, Kelly announced she was going to Chicago for a client pitch. 3 days, she said. Very important account. She would be at the Marriott downtown. She stressed that she would be unreachable, except for emergencies. Then she kissed my cheek with those lying lips and said, "You know how demanding clients can be." I knew exactly how demanding Brandon could be. After she pulled out of the driveway, I called in sick and headed to my son's college. Tyler is 19. He has my calm, step-by-step brain and his mother's technical instincts. It is a powerful mix for what I needed. He met me in the dorm lobby. "Dad, everything okay?" "I need your help," I said. "It is about your mother." Up in his room, I laid the screenshots on his desk. I watched the same cycle roll over his face that I had felt the night before: shock, hurt, anger. He did not speak for a long moment. He did not have to. We both knew we were looking at the truth. And once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. That piece of garbage, my son said under his breath. What do you need from me? Tyler did not waste time. He used a little device he had built for a computer science project to copy Kelly's key fob. Do not ask me how. I design water systems, not spy gear. Within 2 hours, I could see her car moving on a live map. She was not in Chicago. She was parked at the Riverside Hotel, 20 minutes from our house. That evening, I sat in the hotel bar with a plain beer and a baseball cap pulled low. A cheap fake beard itched my chin. From 3 tables away, I watched my wife of 22 years laugh like a teenager with a man I had never met. Brandon was everything I am not on paper: tall, spray-tan smooth, wearing a suit that probably cost more than our monthly mortgage. Outside, a custom Mustang with racing stripes waited like a peacock. Of course it did. They could not keep their hands to themselves. Whispers, touches, little secrets traded an inch from each other's lips. So wrapped up that neither one clocked the quiet guy in the cap. 3 tables over. I trailed them upstairs at a safe distance. They slipped into room 412. The card reader blinked green. They vanished, laughing. My phone buzzed. A text from Kelly. Client dinner running late. Do not wait up. Love you. Love you, I thought. Right. I waited in the lot till midnight. I took clear photos of Brandon's show-off car and burned the license plate into my memory. When they finally came down, they were wobbly and grabby, like high school kids on prom night who never grew up. Brandon, I said, stepping out from behind a pillar. They froze. In the bright wash of the parking lights, Kelly turned the color of paper. Me, she started. What are you? This is not Chicago, I said. Funny how that works. Brandon puffed his chest and took a step. Younger than me. Bigger, maybe. But I had something he did not. I was mad and I was done. Look, man, he said. This is between adults. Why do you not just? I hit him, one clean open hand slap. The sound snapped through the air. My name, I told him, quiet and steady, is Mike. Not man. Not buddy. He touched his cheek, more shocked than hurt. You are crazy. 22 years, I said, pulling my keys from my pocket. 2 kids. A mortgage. A life. I walked over to his precious Mustang and dragged the key down the passenger side, slow and deliberate, carving home wrecker in letters as tall as my hand. You are insane, Brandon barked. I am calling the police. Great idea, I said, holding up my phone. I have some lovely photos from the bar. Very romantic. Kelly was crying now, black streaks on her cheeks. Mike, please, we can talk about this. We passed talking a long time ago, I said. Adrenaline ran hot in my veins as I turned for my truck. Behind me, Brandon shouted about charges and paint jobs. Kelly called after me. Do not you dare tell the kids. I looked back at the woman I had loved for half my life and felt only contempt. The kids, I said, deserve better than a mother who tried to poison their father. As I pulled out, a thick-necked friend of Brandon's in a tracksuit jogged from the lobby, pointing at my truck and chattering into his phone. Not over. Just starting. The next morning, I went back to the garage to slide a small global positioning system tracker under Brandon's car. Tracksuit was waiting. He chased me through 3 levels of cement and buzzing lights, our footsteps popping like firecrackers. I slammed the fire alarm on level 2. Sirens screamed. Red strobes flashed. People poured out of stairwells. In the confusion, I disappeared, leaving Tracksuit to explain to security why he was after a bearded stranger during a fire emergency. Here is a hard truth. When you catch your wife cheating, you do not get closure. You get a target on your back. The gossip wildfire started at Lauren's office. I cut together the bathroom disaster from our home security video into a tight highlight reel and sent it to their company chat with the subject line, "When brunch goes wrong." By noon it sat in every family group thread. Lauren was humiliated. Kelly was furious. I was only warming up. Tyler helped me get into Brandon's photo-sharing account. It did not take much. The man used Mustang 2023 as his password. We posted a collage of his direct messages with Kelly's boss, David Reynolds. And yes, we left the names in. The messages were not subtle. David, she has earned some extra vacation time, if you catch my drift. Brandon, she has earned a lot. Shame her husband is too dull to notice. David, some men have all the luck and none of the sense. It spread fast in their industry circle. David's wife saw it. So did his boss. So did his church group. That evening, Brandon and two gym buddies boxed me in at Murphy's Tavern. I was there with Ruth Kaplan, my attorney, and an old college friend, going over next steps. You think you are clever? Brandon said, sliding into the booth across from me. I looked at him, calm as a winter lake. I think actions have consequences, I said. You are about to meet yours. His two friends boxed me in like heavy bookends. Plenty of muscle, not much thought. Ruth had left 10 minutes earlier, but not before giving me exactly what I needed. A clean legal path that would crush Kelly financially while keeping me out of handcuffs. Clever enough, I said, taking a slow drink. How is the insurance claim on your car coming along? You are going to pay for that, old man. With interest, Brandon snapped. Old man. I laughed. I am 42. You are what, 39? That is not old, Brandon. That is seasoned. He leaned in, trying to make his size do the talking. Experience will not help when my buddies explain the situation to you. I had planned for this. The bar was packed, plenty of witnesses, and I had already checked in with Tom Murphy, the owner. He owed me for the time I repaired his kitchen lines on a Sunday afternoon and refused to take a dime. You know what I like about engineering? I said, casual as a porch swing. Physics. Cause and effect. Action and reaction. My hand clipped the beer glass. It tipped. A wave of lager slid across the table and right into Brandon's lap. He jumped, cursed, and skated on the wet floor in those shiny dress shoes. Down he went, arms pinwheeling, flat on his back in a puddle of beer and peanut shells. The whole place burst out laughing. Looks like you are comfortable on the floor, Brandon, I said, standing. Kelly mentioned you were flexible. His face went purple, but Murphy was already there with two regulars who looked like they could bench press a pickup truck and then carry it home. Is there a problem? Murphy asked, wiping his hands on a towel. No problem, I said, setting a bill on the table. Just a spill. Brandon's friends hauled him up, but the damage was done. Half the bar had phones out, and his pratfall was already racing around social feeds. This is not over, he snarled, beer dripping from his hair. No, I said. It is not. The next day, David Reynolds, Kelly's boss and cheerleader for her after-hours team building, called my office. Mike, buddy, I think there has been a misunderstanding, he said in that slick voice that makes your skin crawl. About Kelly and Brandon. What misunderstanding? Well, you know how office friendships can be misread. Innocent team events, morale building. Team building, I repeated. Is that the label we are using now? Look, I like you, Mike. You seem reasonable. Maybe we can keep this between us. Work something out. What exactly did you have in mind? Kelly is valuable. It would be a shame if her personal choices hurt her career. That would be bad for everyone. I almost laughed. He was trying to buy my silence about his part in the mess. David, I said, thanks for the call. Truly. But here's the truth. I am not reasonable anymore. I am angry. And angry engineers are very, very dangerous. I hung up and called Ruth. How fast can we move on the asset protection? Give me 48 hours, she said. Your wife will not know what hit her. That evening my daughter came home looking rattled. Emily is 17, smart enough to read a room, young enough to hope her parents might still fix it. Dad, she said, sitting at the kitchen table while I stirred a skillet. Mom has been acting strange. She keeps asking about college and if I would want to live somewhere else. My chest tightened. What do you tell her? That I want to stay here. With you. Her eyes, my eyes, met mine. She is leaving, is she not? I could not lie. I think so, sweetheart. Because of that guy. Brandon. I almost dropped the spatula. How do you? I'm not dumb, Dad. She is always texting, smiling at her phone, buying new clothes. And Tyler showed me the screenshots. Smart kids. Sometimes painfully smart. What happens to us? She asked quietly. Nothing happens to us, I said, steady. You and Tyler stay right here. This is your home. What if she tries to take us? I knelt beside her chair and took her hands. Then she will learn your old man is not as harmless as people think. Ruth Kaplan is a shark in a tailored suit. We went to college together, dated for 5 confused months, then figured out we were better as allies. She built a name as the most relentless divorce attorney in the state. Now she was in my corner. This is beautiful, she said, scanning the files I had collected. Absolutely beautiful. She handed you the rope and the knot. We sat in her office, surrounded by casebooks and neatly labeled folders, mapping Kelly's financial collapse like a cleanroom procedure. The transfers are already moving, Ruth said. Everything goes into a trust for the kids, with you as trustee. The house, the savings, the investment accounts, walled off. Legal. Completely. You are safeguarding your children's future from a parent who has shown poor judgment and bad priorities. Any reasonable judge will see it that way. What about her attorney? Ruth smiled the way a hawk might smile. She does not have one. She does not even know she needs one. It was an elegant trap. By the time Kelly understood, the money would be out of reach. She would be leaning on my goodwill for groceries and gasoline. She will fight, I said. Let her, Ruth answered. Fighting costs money she will not have. That night Brandon tried to break into my garage. I was ready. Desperate men do stupid things. I had motion sensors on every approach and cameras covering every angle. My phone lit up with a perfect view of Brandon fumbling at the side door like an amateur thief. I watched from the dark hallway, quiet and calm, and let the red light on the camera keep blinking. Actions have consequences. His were just beginning. When he finally jimmied the side door, I hit the wall switch and the automatic garage door rolled shut behind him, sealing Brandon in with my workbench, my tools, and a very bad mood. Evening, Brandon, I said, stepping out of the shadows with a bottle of fish sauce I had bought just for this moment. He spun around, eyes wild. This is harassment. I am calling the police. Excellent plan, I said. I will tell them about the breaking and entering. I walked over to his precious Mustang, parked in my driveway like he paid the mortgage, and poured the fish sauce through the dash vents, slow and steady. You are insane, he yelled, pounding on the garage door. No, I said, emptying the bottle. I am thorough. The smell was beyond description, low tide behind a seafood joint mixed with a wastewater plant. That stench was going to live in his climate control for months. By the time a patrol car rolled up, half the block had gathered on the sidewalk, drawn by Brandon's yelling and the ungodly reek. Mrs. Lowe, my next-door neighbor, filmed from the curb and narrated like a sportscaster. Officer, Brandon pleaded, hands waving, this man is crazy. He is stalking me, vandalizing my property, harassing me. The cop, a tired man in his 50s, took in the scene with flat eyes. Sir, you are in his garage at midnight. I needed to. He was forcing the lock. I offered. It is all on camera. The officer glanced at the fish sauce-soaked car and shook his head. Son, leave now and do not come back. Brandon climbed into the running Mustang and rolled out with all 4 windows down, gagging on his own perfume of rot. Mrs. Lowe flashed me a thumbs up. Best show we have had in years, Mike, she called. Revenge, it turns out, smells like low tide behind a seafood buffet. Before dawn, Kelly tried the one play Ruth warned me about. Desperate spouses grab leverage. Headlights swept the front yard a little after 2 o'clock in the morning. Suitcases filled the back seat. Kelly stepped out with a frantic look in her eyes. Emily, she called toward the porch. Come on, honey. We are going on a trip. She is not going anywhere, I said, stepping from the dark. Kelly jumped, a hand to her chest. Mike, you scared me. Good, I said. Now get off my property. Our property, she snapped. And I am taking my daughter. Your daughter is 17, I said. She can choose where she wants to live. On cue, Emily appeared in pajama pants and a stubborn set to her jaw. I am not going with you, Mom, she said, clear and steady. Kelly's face crumpled. Sweetheart, you do not understand. Your father is lying to you. He is manipulating you. Like you lied about Chicago? Emily shot back. Like you lied about working late? Like you lied about loving Dad? That is different. No, it is not. Emily crossed the walkway and took my arm. It is exactly the same. Kelly lunged, reaching for Emily's other wrist. You are coming with me. I am your mother. I stepped between them. For a second I thought Kelly might actually swing. Rage twisted her face, the perfect mask finally cracking. Move, Mike, she hissed. No, I said. Headlights turned into the drive. Ruth pulled in first, and right behind her the licensed social worker we had contacted earlier. Everything documented. Everything legal. Everything to protect my kids from an unstable parent. Mrs. Carter, the social worker said evenly, clipboard in hand. Your daughter has stated she wishes to remain with her father. Given the circumstances, we will respect that choice. Kelly looked from me to Emily, to the cluster of neighbors now watching from porches and sidewalks. Her polished life was coming apart in real time, and the whole street could see it. "This is not over," she whispered. "Yeah," I said. "It is." Brandon's panic hit a new gear after the internet got a hold of him. Someone set his fish sauce tantrum to music and turned it into a meme. Hashtag #FishSauceBrandon trended around town. His reputation took a nosedive. He tried to jump me at Kelly's ad agency after hours. I had swung by to pick up a box of personal photos Kelly had left behind. Brandon and 2 gym buddies waited in the parking garage. "You think you are smart?" Brandon snarled, lifting a tire iron. "Let us see how smart you are with a cracked skull." The building was supposed to be empty. Somehow he got inside and staged a little movie villain ambush. "Brandon," I said, backing toward the stairwell. "This is a terrible idea." "Shut up. You ruined my life." "You ruined your own life when you decided to sleep with my wife." The tire iron cut air an inch from my head. I ran. The next 20 minutes felt unreal. They chased me through 4 floors of empty office space while I turned the place into an obstacle course. I knew the building. 2 years earlier, I had worked on its mechanical systems. Every pipe, every panel, every maintenance hatch. Brandon knew how to look sharp in a suit and borrow other men's wives. That was the difference. On the first floor, I slapped the fire suppression pole. Foam geysered across the lobby, alarms howled, and strobes lit the glass like a storm at sea, loud enough to wake the dead. On the second floor, I loosened the fittings on a water cooler and let it bleed across the tile. One of Brandon's buddies came sprinting around the corner, hit the puddle, and shot into the wall like he was on a carnival slide. On the third floor, I tripped the motion sensors for the automated lights. The system pulsed on and off in a hard rhythm, turning the hall into a strobe tunnel. They stumbled and swung at shadows like drunk teenagers. On the fourth floor, I reached the security desk, logged in, and grabbed the building's public address microphone. "This is Brandon," I said into the speakers, clear and slow. "Right now committing assault with a metal tool at 425 Commerce Street." "Yes, he is the fish sauce guy." Brandon roared and started swinging the tire iron at cameras and door frames. His friends had already peeled off by the third floor. They were smart enough to know a losing fight when they saw one. Police rolled in to find Brandon alone in the executive conference room. Chairs knocked over, glass cracked, shouting about fish sauce and social media. I was outside on the hood of my truck, live streaming to Facebook. The viewer counter climbed. "And that," I told the chat, "is how you handle a home wrecker." 10,000 views landed in the first hour. But Brandon was not done. 2 days later, I walked into David Reynolds' backyard for a company party. Kelly was there trying to save what was left of her career. After the message leak, she had been bumped down a rung, and David was giving her one last try at respectability. He had invited me, probably hoping to smooth things over and keep more drama off the internet. "Mike," David called, smiling too wide as 50 of the city's advertising people sipped wine and talked in circles. "Glad you could make it." Kelly went pale. She stood shoulder to shoulder with Brandon, both of them dressed for business and failing at the part. "Thanks for having me, David," I said, loud enough for every ear. I brought party favors. Last summer, I had helped David wire his outdoor sound system. I paired my phone in 2 clicks. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said over the patio speakers, a short story about office romance and special coffee. The next 10 minutes might be the most satisfying of my life. I rolled audio clips of Kelly and Brandon, put up clean screenshots of their messages, then capped it with home security video from the bathroom fiasco that kicked this whole war off. They ate it up. That crowd lives for gossip, and I served it with the precision of a slide deck. The special coffee, I explained, held enough laxatives to put a horse in the hospital. It was meant for me, part of a plan to get me labeled unstable, tucked away, and cleared out of my own house, so Brandon and Kelly could take everything, home and kids. Gasps. Phones up. Red dots recording. "But my sister-in-law drank it instead," I said. "The disaster you just watched went live to her company chat and has crossed 50,000 views." Kelly cried. Brandon edged toward the gate. David looked like he wanted to sink into his perfect lawn. "The lesson is simple," I finished. "If you plan to poison someone's coffee, make sure they are the one who drinks it." The patio split, some laughing, some horrified, all locked in. Kelly's reputation went cold on the vine. Brandon was already buried under 6 feet of ridicule. "Time for you to go," Kelly, David said, voice tight with anger. You too, Brandon. They skulked out while cameras followed. Guests swarmed me with questions like I was some kind of minor celebrity. I was not finished. One last chapter waited. The thunderstorm hit at midnight. Streets turned to shallow rivers. The sky flickered like a bad fluorescent bulb. Perfect weather for an ending. Brandon and Kelly showed up together, soaked, desperate, dangerous. They had lost everything: jobs, reputations, friends. People with nothing to lose are the ones you watch. I was ready. Spike strips lay hidden under a thin blanket of leaves across my drive. Security floods were tuned to motion and bright enough to light a stadium. The sprinkler system waited on a remote. Cameras covered every angle. Mike Carter. Brandon yelled from the curb, rain streaming off his face. Get out here. I stepped onto the porch in a rain slicker and gave him my biggest smile. Half the block watched from their windows. Mrs. Lowe had her phone up, live yet again. Evening, folks, I called. Lovely weather. Kelly stepped forward, hair pasted to her scalp, makeup running in black tracks. She looked like a villain at the end of the movie. You ruined my life, she screamed. You took everything. I did not take anything, I said, calm as a plumb line. I handed you exactly what you earned. Brandon hammered the gas and revved the Mustang like noise could scare me. Even in the rain, you could smell the fish sauce cloud rolling off that car. It was nauseating. We will take everything, he yelled. Your house, your kids, your little life. With what money? I laughed. You are both unemployed. Your credit is trash. Your names are mud. You could not walk out of a warehouse club with a free sample. They shot up my drive, tires spinning on wet concrete, aiming straight at the garage. The spike strips did exactly what they were built to do. All 4 tires shredded. The Mustang fishtailed into a neat line of garbage cans I had placed for that exact moment. Security floods snapped on and turned my yard into a film set. Sprinklers kicked in and soaked Brandon and Kelly as they stumbled out, furious and dripping. Welcome to my home, I said over the outdoor speakers I had wired that afternoon. Please enjoy your stay. Brandon grabbed a baseball bat from the back seat and charged. I was ready. The garage door rose to show the banner I hung that morning. Cheaters park here. Under it, a full gallery, printed screenshots, messages, photos, everything that told the story of their affair. Neighbors stepped out, rain or no rain. Umbrellas popped open. Phones went up. Red recording lights everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, I announced, meet Brandon and Kelly, home record deluxe. Brandon swung for my head. I ducked, grabbed the garden hose, and blasted him in the face. He slipped on the slick concrete and hit hard. The bat skittered away. Dad, Emily called, grinning from the doorway in pajamas. The police are almost here. Perfect timing, sweetheart. Kelly made one last lunge, reaching for Emily like she could drag her to the car by sheer will. Emily did not back up. She lifted her phone, camera rolling, and spoke loud enough for the whole block. Mom, everyone needs to hear the truth. You tried to lace Dad's coffee with laxatives so your boyfriend could have him declared unstable and steal our house. You lied about business trips to sleep with this guy. You left your family for a man whose car smells like rotten fish. Neighbors murmured. A few clapped. Heads shook. You are not my mother anymore, Emily said, steady as a judge. You are a stranger who used to live here. Kelly collapsed to her knees in the driveway and sobbed. Patrol cars slid to the curb. Officers cuffed Brandon, who still reeked of fish sauce and bad decisions. 22 years, I said, looking at the woman I once loved. 22 years I gave you everything, and you threw it away for that. I nodded toward Brandon as they loaded him into a squad car. Trespassing, assault, property damage. It would keep him busy for a while. Mike, Kelly whispered. Please, we can fix this. Counseling. A fresh start. No, I said. We cannot. Statements were taken. Neighbors drifted inside. The storm eased. Brandon rode off in handcuffs. Kelly stood there, soaked and empty, with nowhere to go and nobody to lean on. Remind me to buy decaf next time, I told Emily as Kelly disappeared down the street. My daughter laughed, bright in the quiet after the rain. I love you, Dad. I love you too, kiddo. Come on. We have a life to rebuild. We walked toward the front door. I looked back once, at the limp Mustang on flat tires, at the scattered trash, at the rain-heavy banner that called the shot. Justice does not always come in a courtroom. Sometimes it looks like spike strips and fish sauce. Sometimes it is cameras and neighbors who saw everything. Sometimes it is a father standing his ground, protecting his kids, and taking his dignity back. The best revenge is refusing to be a victim.